Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, February 19, 2021. Government has signaled its intent to spend $830.8 billion in the 2021-22 financial year. It comprises $776.57 billion for recurrent or housekeeping expenditures and $54.2 billion to fund capital development projects. While tabling the estimates of expenditure on Thursday, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark said the reduction was due to lower debt service costs and lower volume of loans to public bodies.
This budget, Madam Speaker, follows a year in which Jamaica experienced the worst economic contraction in its history, due to measures required to slow the spread of the coronavirus.
Of the $389.5 billion earmarked for the Ministry of Finance, $272.2 billion will go towards debt servicing. Other ministries receiving a sizable chunk of the budget include Education with $118.5 billion, Health and Wellness $89.2 billion, National Security $87.9 billion, and Economic Growth and Job Creation with $31 billion. The Finance Minister stressed that adequate provisions for COVID-19 vaccines and maintaining financial stability were among the key priorities for economic recovery.
Our task this year is to begin the economic recovery, and we aim for economic recovery to begin this upcoming fiscal year, and furthermore to begin this upcoming April to June quarter. Of course, we're not in control of all variables, but that certainly is the policy intent. Our budget, Madam Speaker, within the strictures with which we have to operate, and to the greatest extent possible, is aligned with this objective.
Still on the budget, $60 billion has been allocated for the Social and Economic Recovery and Vaccine SERVE program for Jamaica. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says $33 billion of that figure will come from the Bank of Jamaica and go to the Consolidated Fund. He says this is as a result of the central bank's requirement under the BOJ Act to distribute dividends to the government whenever it makes a profit.
The government's policy of BOJ modernization is literally paying dividends, Madam Speaker, at a time when we need it most.
It comprises $10.5 billion to procure special resources for the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Based on the current prices and supply that the Ministry of Health has, we are making provisions for the government of Jamaica to be able to finance the procurement of and the completion of coronavirus vaccination for 2 million Jamaicans. Whether it's double dose or single dose, depending on the supplier.
Other areas of focus on the SERVE include a $31 billion infrastructure program to drive jobs and economic activities, improve productivity, and strengthen resilience. In addition, money is set aside to finance businesses affected by the pandemic, address rural farm roads and productivity incentives, and expand Wi-Fi and broadband accessibility. Social support will also be provided to the vulnerable and people who've fallen on hard times as a result of the pandemic. The UDC will receive funds to complete construction of the closed Harbour Beach Park and other activities, and $0.8 billion will be distributed among other ministries, departments, and agencies.
The Serve Jamaica program will provide the foundation for social and economic recovery beginning in the upcoming fiscal year.
Meanwhile, government is proposing a one-year deferral of the implementation of the public sector compensation restructure. During a statement to the House of Representatives yesterday, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark said this was to allow the government more time to focus on facilitating the country's recovery efforts from the COVID-19 pandemic. In the interim, in addition to the annual increments, a very modest increase in wages has been programmed for the 2021-22 fiscal year.
So we're not coming and asking for a freeze. In addition to the increment, there'll be we are proposing a very modest increase that can be afforded within the context. And we will use this year, Madam Speaker, to fine-tune the parameters of the compensation restructure with the union movement so that we can move towards beginning implementation in the next financial year.
The Finance Minister said a thorough review and examination of the public sector compensation restructuring was completed as promised in December last year. In other news, head of the Caribbean Technical Advisory Group on Immunization, Professor Peter Figueroa, is assuring Jamaicans that COVID-19 vaccines approved by the World Health Organization, WHO, are safe and highly effective. Speaking at a recent Ministry of Health press briefing, Professor Figueroa explained the makeup of the AstraZeneca vaccine expected in the country this month.
It uses what we call a vector. They take the shell of a virus, a common cold virus, an adenovirus, simply to get that into the body's system and into the immune system cells. And within that, there is a mimic of the spike protein, something just made that's similar to the spike protein that then induces in the human a response that helps to protect us against the coronavirus itself that causes the COVID disease.
Professor Figueroa is a member of an expert panel at the WHO that is examining vaccine safety. Stressing that the vaccines contain no harmful material, he says studies have shown very few cases of severe COVID-19 requiring hospitalization in persons who are vaccinated, with the only side effects of significance being a swollen arm, fever, headache, and tiredness, which usually go away within 24 hours. The Administrator General's Department, AGD, is encouraging Jamaican entertainers to have wills in place for easier estate administration after death. Deputy Administrator General at the AGD, Stacey Ann Carty, says the plea becomes heightened as the department has now established an intellectual property section to handle those particular matters.
We're appealing specifically to persons who are writers, producers, entertainers, as we're in this reggae month, where they focus on writing a will, taking all the steps to put their estate in order. They know the specific intricacies of their family life and their family dynamics, and how their beneficiaries will be put in a tailspin if things are not in order.
Mrs. Carty was speaking recently at a JIS think tank. The AGD is responsible for administering the estates of persons who have died without leaving a will, have left assets to administer, and have children under the age of 18 years. And finally, Entertainment Minister Olivia Grange says she's deeply saddened by the passing of veteran DJ Ewart Beckford, popularly known as U-Roy. U-Roy earned his crown as King of the Dancehall for the role he played in pioneering the art of toasting on sound system rhythms. Minister Grange adds that his Sturgov sound system launched the careers of many reggae stars, including Charlie Chaplin, Josie Wales, and Supercat. Ewart U-Roy Beckford, who was born in Jonestown, Kingston on September 21, 1942, is known for popular hits such as Wake the Town and Tell the People and Wear You to the Ball. He died in Jamaica on Wednesday, February 17. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.